Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 2CTV with your latest news update, this time from the Middle East. As we get closer to Christmas, war on Christianity continues. Obviously attack on Christians across the world. Obviously we have to unfortunately expect yet another wave of attacks on Nigerian Christians as usual, and all the others across the world. But in this video we're going to talk about what's going on in the very specific region. We're talking about Syria, we're talking about Turkey, and the two very specific countries who used to protect Christians and Christianity, and historically speaking they have massive roots in the heritage when it comes to Christian values. All that out of the window. The world is changing, and of course we are here to give you guys the latest updates, even though it's doom and gloomy. If you're watching this live, we'll get your reaction as usual. Some of you might have already heard in Hama, in the province of Hama in Syria, they've been burning they burned one of the main Christmas trees, but a couple of others as well. We have also a video from Turkey, but there are protests right now in Syria tonight against what's been going on, and we now have al-Jilani, the new leader of the new Syria, also reacting to this chaos that he promised to prevent. First, let's go to the first video we have. This is the Christmas tree in Hama in Syria. Now, the issue is not necessarily just Christmas trees. The issue isn't just Christmas. The issue is also churches and Christianity. Churches are being targeted again. We also have problems in Europe. We've been talking about this on this channel when it comes to problems in France. Also, North America, in Canada, a number of churches were targeted. That happens regularly now in Europe. We're going to talk about Europe as well, because we had some disruptions again in Italy and France in a number of churches. But this issue with Hama is really weird, because again, al-Jilani has responded already. We will get to his point as well, because the whole thing is getting completely ludicrous with the new Islamist group pretending to be a reasonable grown-ups in the room. Let's go to the next video we have, and then I'm going to talk about what's been going on in reaction to this.
يشوفها
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, the people in charge of the new Syria, continue to have their minions going around causing trouble, while their leadership reassure the public that this new Syria will be progressive and open-minded. Sure, backed up by Erdogan in Turkey, which we're going to get to, because Turkey is also a different problem. There has been some other responses when it comes to this specific tree. Father Meyer, the priest of Hama parish, stated that the tree will be restored and relit by Christmas. And we do have, just before we went live over the last few minutes, we do have the latest image from the tree. They are temporarily restoring it, but obviously they're going to have to work properly on it. So this is the latest image that we now have over the last few minutes from Syria. It's still not complete, obviously, but they're going to have to obviously work on it. But again, Christmas is coming. Who's going to stop nutters from burning it down again? Now, the problem is this man, the evolution of al-Jilani. He started by being a complete thug, as usual. Now he's wearing a suit and a tie, because he's been trained when it comes to propaganda, when it comes to his PR exercise. He's been trained by Erdogan in Turkey. The problem we have is that these people think that by just putting on a tie and a suit, we're going to think he is a civilized man. He is not civilized. Even the leadership in Turkey are not civilized. Turkey used to be a much better country up until around the 90s and early 2000s. Things change. This is the video we have from Turkey. And that's Turkey. That still has a biggish population of Christians in it. Obviously, the regime under Erdogan, their strategy is slightly different. And somehow we decided that they should still stay in NATO. Interesting, right? Now, there have been reactions from Christians in Syria. This time, they're not backing down. Christians are standing up for their values, despite the fact that they should technically be in fear of these Islamist nutters, the Sunni Islamist nutters going around causing trouble. The Christians are actually not hiding. The Christians are not running away. They are out there, they are protesting, and they are protecting the churches and Christmas trees and everything else. Let's go to some of the videos we have from these protests tonight in Syria. This is how bravery looks. Similar to the situations we've seen in Iran, where women, despite being attacked for not covering their hair, they continue to rebel. Christians in Syria, under the new Sunni leadership in Syria, they should be terrified. They are fighting back. They're not giving up because they've got nothing to lose at this point. Now, one main problem is that there hasn't really been, I know it's just early days, but not much reaction from the international community. Now let's see what happens tomorrow. I'm not going to hold my breath, but at least in Syria, they continue to fight back. Let's go to the next video from the protests by Christians. This is the new Syria, ladies and gentlemen. Now, you might think it's somewhere that you might not be able to relate to, a different country. But as I said, the last few years, the war on Christians and Christianity, because it's nothing to do with Christmas itself or a Christmas tree, because the attacks are on ordinary Christians. We've seen in Nigeria and other places, as I said earlier. Churches, the actual buildings are being targeted. Values are being undermined. That is the biggest problem. And guess where you're getting that attack from? It's not ISIS, it's not Al-Qaeda or Taliban. It's the liberal left-wing globalists in the West who are also having a war on Christian cultural values by undermining it. So Christian cultural values are being attacked by various sides at the same time. That's why there is no surprise that we don't really have anybody in the political leadership to defend us, to do something, to stand up for our values in the Western world. We keep ranting about our Anglo-American alliance that technically a few decades ago helped the rest of the Western world. That created arrogance. Now you have the liberal globalists thinking they should go around, police the world and cause trouble while completely abandoning the people of their own countries. You've seen what they've done, the liberal establishment in the United States. They don't care about Americans. You've seen the Canadian leadership. They don't care about Canadians. You've seen what they're doing in France. Macron doesn't care about the French. This is the arrogance of the liberal globalists, and it will continue until people say enough is enough. If you want to know the situation in churches in Europe, you've got the far left Marxists alongside the Islamists going into churches to take in Palestinian flags and protest in the middle of a mass, Sunday mass, for example. Let me just show you, in case you haven't seen these sort of nonsensical attacks. Watch this. Where is the outrage from our political leaders? If you do that in an Islamic world, go to a mosque and do that, firstly, you will be in a lot of trouble legally. There will be statements from the political leaders in the Islamic world. Why do we not care about our churches? Let's get some reaction from the live chat. First, a couple of super chats. We got Victor Red, thank you very much, saying Merry Christmas. Very Merry Christmas to everybody. All the Christians out there. And Lona from Israel says, Torah Bible about Ishmael, his hand will be against everyone and everyone's hand against him, and he will live in hostility towards all his brothers. There are a couple of non-super chats as well. We got Very Virgo says, maybe me, but I commented tonight the lack of Christmassy films and programs on TV tonight. Odd for this time of year. I have actually, it's weird because I did notice it as well. I thought it was just me. Because obviously I still have to check out what's going on with the mainstream, just, to keep an eye on everything else so you guys don't have to suffer. It feels, every year, last few years, it feels less Christmassy, let's just say. And again, it's not necessarily about Christmas itself or Christmas tree, because obviously you got some people talking about the whole pagan thing. At this point, it's symbolic. The whole Christmas and Christmas trees, symbolically, you still have Christians doing the Sunday Mass and also Christmas Mass, Christmas Day Mass. Obviously, I'm going to do the midnight Mass. It's easier than Christmas Day. But it's symbolic. And it matters. And even the commercialization of Christmas, up until recent years, it still matters. That people still at least remind people about Christianity. Whether you want to have a debate about pagans and all that stuff, that's irrelevant, because the attack is on churches and actual normal Christians, not necessarily trees. The trees are just symbolic. That shows the hatred that they have against Christians, anybody who's not basically Islamic. Yvette, yeah, again, good reminder. Nigerian Christians have suffered for years. Again, this year as usual. Pauline responded to the photo of Al-Julani that we showed. Yeah, he looks evil, tie or not. Yeah, now he's going around wearing a tie and a suit thinking we're idiots. Brenda Spears says, shouting with capital letters, I noticed the Israeli flag is gone again. Why? Because we're not talking about Israel. Why would I have an Israeli flag up there? If we talk about a news update from or about Israel, obviously in solidarity, because a friend gave me an Israeli flag, we put it up. But when we're not talking about Israel, this is not an Israeli channel. It's an Anglo-American, obviously, side perspective of news updates against the mainstream media. That is the whole point of this. But obviously, we will show solidarity to our Jewish friends and obviously non-Jewish friends in Israel. It's not just Jewish people who live in Israel, all the people in Israel. And we will always put up try to put up the flag when we talk about that. Barbara says, Merry Christmas to everyone. How can I give 2 memberships to 2CTV Plus as a Christmas present? So we don't have the ability yet, unfortunately. Barbara, I'm going to work on that because you can't gift memberships, but on YouTube, which don't do it because the money goes to Google. And we do have our own membership, which is 2CTV Plus. Go on 2c.tv. You get 50% off annual memberships today if you use the promo code Christmas50. We will probably create a function so you could gift membership. I didn't really think about that. But for now, you can go individually. And if you want to support the channel, but also get access to all the documentaries and chat forum and premium shows and more chaos, go to tutti.tv, get 50% off now annual memberships. Okay. Thanks for the reminder, by the way, Barbara Davis. Now, Malcolm says, probably worse in London. They hate us, remember, and always have. Time to take a stand and fight back. It is quite interesting Malcolm mentions London because there is a very specific type of problem we have in the UK and in Canada and France as well. And then the reason I mentioned these three countries, because there are other countries as well that have the same problem. It just seems more vocal and public now. There have been so many times we've seen interviews in public or just people posting their own videos expressing their opinions. People who are migrants or from migrant backgrounds, Islamic migrant backgrounds, in France, Canada, and the UK, publicly and openly and passionately say they hate this country, these countries. The hate that they have when it comes to France, when it comes to Canada. Also, how can you hate Canada? It's one of the nicest countries with the nicest people, and even the establishment is so liberal, wishy-washy. It's not. I mean, apart from when Justin Trudeau went crazy and tyrannical, the overall culture of Canada, they're nice people. How can you hate Canada that's been generous enough to invite you to basically open the door, say, yeah, come in here, we're going to give you free things. And then you're going around wearing a hijab openly and freely in Canada, and you're still able to practice your Islamic ideology, and somehow you hate it, right? But you're not going to leave. The people who say they hate Canada, or they hate the UK, or they hate France, they don't leave. They just say they hate it. They don't leave. Because Malcolm says, because while they hate it, they want to destroy it from within. That's the problem that we have. And as Malcolm says, take a stand and fight back. Stand up for your values and your country. Jan White says the petition against Keir Starmer is now over 3 million. Yeah, obviously we gave you the updates in the previous live stream. It just hit 3 million when I showed you the latest updates. Julie Newman says Canada is beautiful. It's the turd that is in charge of it, aka Trudeau, that makes it S. Yep, I agree. JB is also right. Canadians are cool. Their government is trying to end it. Absolutely spot on. There's another. Actually, there's a couple of super chats I just missed. There we go. Nina, thank you so much. Saying was in Boots shopping. They were playing aerobic or Arabic. I think it's Arabic, right? Or aerobic. I don't know. I think it's Arabic. It was really loud. I emailed them and complained. I think the next day, Christmas music. Well, at least they listened to you, or maybe it was just coincidental that the next day they were just planning to put Christmas music on. I don't know. It's just so bad. Julie says, sorry, I swore my Merry Christmas. Don't worry, Julie. It's that time of the year. Everyone gets a little bit passionate. It's okay. You can swear. I won't read it out, but you can swear. Free speech. Family show. Family channel, guys. Come on. Matt says, the attacks are mostly done by Islamist males. The women seems a bit less aggressive. Oh, I don't think Matt's been outside. Matt has not been to the gatherings and the protests in London, in Paris, in Toronto, in New York, in the name of Syria and Palestine and all these. It's I don't know what's going on culturally right now, but it's the women who are extremely aggressive, could also get at times semi-physical. And obviously we have the evidence on this channel, but also you can just go on YouTube and go on other X and other social media platforms, just find the clips. There is something, yeah, that is usually the case. Matt's still right that obviously when it comes to the Islamic culture, especially with the who are more backwards and less educated, you do have a problem with men. Men are obviously the big issue. I mean, the whole culture goes back to the Islamic men, and all the laws are in favor of men. We know that. I agree with Matt here. But I can assure you that it's something weird that's happening. I was shocked over the last year, since the 7th of October, when I started seeing even these protests. Yeah, the men are still there. They're still dominating. They're still majority, because it's, I don't know, you go out there, it's a political activity. But there's something. And also, it's not really just about the Islamic women. It's also about the middle class, white, Western, champagne socialists. They are also extremely vicious. I don't know what's going on. You think that there would be some sort of, it looks like nice mannerism. Nope, doesn't exist anymore. But no, yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, Matt. I'm just saying that there's something that's changed recently, the last few months, since 7th of October, which is really, really terrifying. Mosh Cohen from Israel says, mate, I wish you could host Raymond Ibrahim. He is a Coptic Christian who actually translated the Al-Qaeda papers on the war on the West. Brilliant, man. I will tell the team to keep an eye on that. Thank you for the recommendation. Raymond Ibrahim. Okay, cool. And Vic says, you would think the people would have learned from the first time Muslims tried to take over the world. You think so? Well, no, nope. Mosh also says, a Merry Christmas to you all. Hope it all goes well. Well, thank you, Mosh Cohen from Israel, for saying Merry Christmas. Also, Happy Hanukkah to all our Jewish friends as well in Israel and elsewhere. And here we go. We've got more Christians coming out. Thank you. All right. Brian says, Islam is expected to be tolerated by the world, yet it's intolerant of the world. Yep, there are so many. I mean, actually, the best thing you can do, actually, just go and watch most of the videos on Apostle Prophet's YouTube channel. Because there's so many things that Apostle Prophet could actually explain in terms of, I mean, I've already ranted about this on my channel so many times, but to make it shorter, if you go on his channel, because he actually explains the psychology around the history of that desert and the Arab world, or well, now we call it Saudi Arabia, obviously, now it's spread around the region in general. That's always been the case in terms of what you said, Brian, about tolerance and intolerance of the world. James, thank you, saying, Mayamite, we love you. Merry Christmas, brother. Thank you, James, and Merry Christmas. All right, so today is Christmas Eve, by the way. So, Merry Christmas Eve. So tomorrow is going to be interesting because I'm expecting a quiet day, hopefully, but I have a feeling some weird stuff is going to happen around the world. But obviously, I'm going to do hopefully tomorrow evening midnight mass, so that Christmas Day we can just relax. Everything will be fine. With the Christmas dinner, which I'm still very much worried about, but although Danielle is in charge of that department, so big shout out to my fiance, who's going to be looking after most of the Christmas dinner. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Maya Tusi, and we are the media.